Hello, everybody. It's glad to have you here on the third, I believe, webinar of the Brandstorm 2025 series. Today, we'd like to talk about the winning strategy to for Brandstorm. For Brandstorm in general, we'd like to share some tips as a team who reached the international final last year. Tell you a little bit about our journey, about our reflections, and share some insights perhaps that will help you along your way to the semi-final and hopefully to the Grand International Final in Paris this year. Before we begin, a few words about us. My name is Marty. I'm a business and art student, currently graduate during my gap year. For most of my life, I've been a designer and an NGO activist. I run a foundation that's focuses on developing entrepreneurship in Polish people, in Polish youth, and in Polish small companies. And now it's been 6 months since I joined L'Oréal after my Brandstorm journey. I currently work as artwork coordinator for the brand L'Oréal Paris, as well as I'm a member of the Innovation Squad, which is a company-wide working group implementing new technologies and innovative ideas throughout the Polish and Baltic hub. Today with me is my wonderful Brandstorm team, Agnieszka and Victoria. I will let you tell a few words about yourself.
Yes, so hello everyone, my name is Agnieszka. I'm currently during my 5th and last year of my business studies. I'm studying at SGH Warsaw School of Economics, and I'm also doing a TEMS Master in International Management degree. I spent my last semester in Portugal during a students' exchange. I'm currently unemployed, but I've done some internships along the way in consulting, digital strategy, and public relations. And I'm very happy to be here today. Hope it will be helpful for your Brandstorm journey.
Hi, I'm Victoria, and I'm like a third team member of our L'Oréal Brandstorm team from the last year, and I'm currently also on a gap year on my master's degree, which I've done in SGH and with exchange in Barcelona. And I've done some internships, so I have background in communication, marketing, but also work in, let's say, consulting area, but in marketing department. And right now I work in Adidas as a category manager for such sports as tennis, swim, cycling. And that's it from our introduction part, I guess.
Yeah, actually, a fun fact is that Victoria was almost late. She's joining us from Germany from a conference.
Yeah,
I'm allowed to say that. I don't know.
From Adidas headquarters. It's kind of nice place to be, but.
Okay. Yes. So that was us. The introductory part, and today we'll split the presentation into two main areas, two main chapters. This is how we think about it. But first, before we begin, a few words about the competition itself. If you aren't enrolled yet, L'Oréal is an international innovation competition, like intrapreneurship, as we call it, competition that's aimed to create innovation that will help L'Oréal reach new audiences and basically create the beauty that moves the world. If you're between 18 and 30 years old, and you like this sounds like you, then we strongly invite you to join. We'll give you some arguments for that on the next parts of this presentation. Yeah, here's a bit more info about the presentation. This is us. This is us with our voucher for the trip to London, where the finals last year took place. This year, I know you're going to Paris instead of London, which is the headquarters, which is also fun. But London was great. So on every stage, it doesn't really matter how far you make it. Each stage gives you something special that you can leave with, even if you don't make it to the semifinals, which I wish you, which I wish that you do. You still get the certificate. You still get the possibility to pitch in front of some remarkable figures from the company's corporate structure, let's say, including the managing committee and even the CEO. You get great possibility to network. Then if you make it to the semi-final and to the main final, you will have the possibility to work directly with experts from L'Oreal that will guide you further and help you improve not only your pitch but also your skills and sort of even in a way help shape your path, like career path, if you wish so. And then of course the main prize, the winning team gets hired by L'Oreal, which is pretty cool. But even if you don't end up winning the main prize, you can still get hired, which I am an example of. So that was a bit of words about us, and now I'd like to ask you, where are you joining us from? Where are you studying? What university? Maybe you're already graduated. You can write in the chat. You can also unmute yourself, I believe. Victoria left this option on. For the most part, I would like to not do that, but in the question parts, you can raise your voice. Graduated, but still studying. Oh, I see two people studying chemistry. This is interesting. This is actually something that we might touch upon, which is the variety of skill set, as you've already heard from our presentation, or like quick intro. We are mostly with a business background, which was an upside in some areas, but also was a challenge in others, because as you will find out, this competition really maybe not favors, but it pays to have some hard skills as well instead of only the soft ones. So it's great to know you. If you can still continue writing in the chat if you wish, but yeah, back to our story a little bit. Actually, this is the part where you, Agnieszka and Victoria, you can support me on the journey. If you told us about a year ago that we would end up in London among like 30, I believe, of 40 top teams from, I believe, 30,000 applicants around the world, we certainly wouldn't believe it. It all started as a project on our university. We were sort of somewhat hoping, I believe, to pass a subject with starting the Brandstorm. And along the way, we figured out, so as we first started working on it and came up with some first nice ideas, and refined them and refined them and refined them, and finally got to the semi-final. We already knew that like passing passing some subjects at university is the least important thing that we were gonna draw out of it. Basically, our last year's motive was about innovation for hairstylists. So our proposition was a like trilateral webinars. Oh yeah. Sorry, it was like a trilateral platform for hairstylists to better connect with their audiences and better connect with L'Oreal, and basically unlock the potential of synergy between those three parties. But for the meat or tofu, if you wish, of the main part of the presentation, we were thinking about what are the best like tips, best practices, what to do, what to not do on your journey, and especially in this first stage that we are still in. So before you submit your application, and before you end up in the semi-final, which again I wish you do. And we ended up dividing them into two main parts or chapters, if you would. One regarding the idea itself and working on the concept, and then the one about communicating it the right way, of finding the right words, of framing some things in a certain way, and also just convincing the jury at the end of the day that your project is worth taking to the international final. So after the chapter one, and here I have another question I would like to ask you, which is, what stage are you on? Because we've been preparing with the thought that not every one of you might already have the idea, but I know that some of you are already on much further stage, and maybe you're just polishing up, wrapping before the application. So you can tell us what stage are you on, so we can maybe skip the most basic parts if it turns out that most of you are already on the finish line. Do you already have a team? All right. The first sub-chapter of chapter one is the research. If you haven't done so, this is where we started, and this is where most of the teams that we saw on the international final started. It might be a bit straightforward to think of the research first, but most teams, I would say, don't go far enough and don't start early enough in the conceptualizing phase.
But I think we also started, if I may, we also started with that because we didn't have a clear idea, and I think that's the main problem, that like we kind of knew that, like we knew that we want to participate so much, and like we had a team, like we know each other from the university and from like students project, but like the issue was that like we didn't our theme, as Marty said before, was about like hairstylists, and we didn't know like what their needs are, and we didn't know that much about L'Oreal and like their values and stuff, and also about the competition itself, like what are the main maybe areas that needs to be like, let's say, research and like built on idea. And that's why I think we first begin with research like meetings with each others. And yeah, and sorry, Marty, for interrupting, but I think that's that's
No, I highly encourage you to do so.
yeah. And I don't know if you, Aga, want to add something, because I see
Yeah, I wanted to add something because I think like when we were at that stage of coming up with an idea, I think it was like we got quite annoyed that it's taking us so much time, and we thought that, oh, we will have an idea and we should like already start working. But now looking back at it, I think it's like the probably one of the most important stages to. So like the fact that it takes, maybe for some of you it takes so much time, then like it's a good thing. Like you should do your research properly. You should make sure that the idea you come up with something you really feel good about, because this is something like if you will go to the other stages, like you're kind of like stuck with it. So just make sure it's a good one, and like don't worry that it may take you a lot of time to come up with.
Yeah, and some of the points that we've highlighted here include what does L'Oreal do, which is, I think, my favorite, and a lot of people omitted it. The worst thing that can happen, like that can potentially happen, is when you get to the semifinal, you pitch your idea, and then one of the jury members realizes that your project is actually already implemented, or like it's been implemented since 2 years or something. So it's really crucial to see what L'Oreal has already done. I know this year your topic is a bit broader. Last year it was a lot more tight, the area of interest. But yeah, what technologies does it implement already? Who does it work with? How does it market to these target audiences? What does its competition do? What other companies like L'Oreal, and maybe even not L'Oreal, because we will be coming back to it. This year, your target audience is literally half of the population, right? So there is much more to explore here, and there's a lot of companies that do target this audience. So you can look much broader. And the last part, which made a big difference to us, is talk to the target group. First of all, if you are a target group, do give it a thought, but then make sure your problem is a real one, and that your solution that you're going to propose actually solves somebody's problem. Which takes us to the second stage, which is broadly perceived brainstorming. And this is something that, out of all the parts, usually gives you the most fun. Pitching and winning and getting to the next stages and networking is really fun, but the act of conceiving a new idea and of working on it, especially offline, which I really strongly recommend you do. Work as much offline as possible. It's really something that bonds you as a team, that makes you a better team, that makes you understand yourselves much better at the end, and leaves you memories. Doing things online isn't fun at all. When it comes to the brainstorming, the usual way, or the most orthodox, handbook way of starting, is starting with why. Is starting from the problem, is defining what the target group needs, and then addressing then addressing that problem. This is usually the way successful businesses and endeavors start. But there is another way that I would like to briefly touch upon here, which is the solution first method. Sometimes, especially if you are in possession of soft skills, or you're like on a technical university, it might turn out that you are in possession of some competence, some technology that could potentially solve some problem, and you can start designing your solution. So in the problem first approach, you first find a problem, and then you find a technology that solves it. And in the solution first problem, you do have an interesting technology, and you try to look for a problem that and you look for an area in which this solution of yours, this technology of yours, can help your target audience. The most usual one, once again, is the problem first solution. But as we have a lot of technical people and future engineers here, this is one to look into as well. One of my personal best practices and tips when it comes to brainstorming: let yourselves explore a lot of ideas, because the most common problem that I see among other, even in the professional environment, at university every time, but even in professional environment, people get stuck to mediocre ideas really quickly. They develop this kind of a group think, where they basically agree on the first thing, on the first idea, which isn't bad, not realizing that around the corner a much better idea might form. So it really pays off not to be compliant, and even if you like somebody's idea, still push not only yourselves but also other people to develop a lot of broad ideas first, and then tighten them. Girls, do you maybe have something to add in this matter?
I think you said the most important things.
Yeah, maybe adding from our experience, I think that was actually the longest step for us, because we were just sitting couple of meetings and talk. But it's not a bad thing, but you might think you are wasting your time, but at the end, if you actually find the idea and the solution, it's gonna be maybe not super quick later, but if you have something clear in my mind, then you're gonna struggle less later. So like, take your time. That's from my side the most important thing in on this step.
And I think we also had some like sessions with our professor at university, which I think help us to gain like additional perspective. Not only from people from, let's say, our age group, but also someone maybe more experienced. I think it's also a valuable, thing to have someone look at your solution and check if it's something that seems doable and needed, I would say.
Yeah, this is actually something that's a lot of professional like work groups actually utilize, which is a dilettante, a person that is not directly involved in the project, but comes from the outside and can offer some fresh experience. Sometimes it's even a person that has never worked in this area or has never heard about this project, because they can ask some perhaps seemingly stupid questions and reveal some blind spots that you might have. And this has been really useful for us, especially when we talk to our professor and our friends. Sometimes what you think is funny is cringe, and what you think is brilliant is ChatGPT-ish. So last but not least, Sorry, yeah.
I can add to that it's also more important if you have like similar group with a similar background, because that was our case, and like to us, to three of us, it was like we found the same problems, we find maybe the same solutions, but then if you are talking to someone and you are not like, you know, in your like a little, let's say, zone, because the three of us maybe are not that similar, but let's say with our background, I think our way of thinking could be the same. So it is maybe easier to have people in the team who knows each other so good, and who are like pretty similar, but then when you come up with idea, it might be better to have different perspectives, and yeah, coming from different backgrounds, you have different problems, so that would help. So especially if you have more of a yeah, let's say similar group, then it is super important to not only talk to maybe your like, let's say, mentor, but also to your friends from like different areas or different universities,
Younger siblings, parents, whatever, you know, anybody with a different perspective. Yeah, and the last thing here, most of the ideas are going to be somewhat similar, you know. Maybe not most, but a lot of ideas are going to be similar to one another. So on every stage, I highly encourage you to think about little things that will make your solution, you know, a bit different, a bit more memorable. For example, our project, you know, we proposed an app, literally. So the project by itself couldn't be considered the most, you know, innovative technological breakthrough, but the way that we framed it and the way that we made it respond to the needs of the target group, how we branded it, how we communicated it, as you know, this one-stop shop, everything. That we called it mosaic because it was supposed to piece all the puzzles of managing your personal style together. So think about those little things, little sparks that will make it more memorable, even if your idea isn't groundbreaking at the core. Point 3 is know the criteria by heart, and this is perhaps if the first two you could consider, you know, generic advice. This is the one that made a difference for us, I would say, because from the very beginning we were really careful to craft the solution, not only the solution, but also the way that we present it and the way that we frame it, as we said, to make it hard for our jury not to pick our idea. We tried to, you could say, hack the system a little bit, navigating in the frames of terms and conditions. So we highly encourage you to read, you know, the terms and conditions, the criteria of judging, all these little side quests that are sometimes not mentioned straight in your face, like you know, sustainability or community building. These are some things that might not be strictly straight in your face written in the selection criteria, but they will peek through the different communication materials that you're gonna get, and make sure you understand them and make sure you utilize them. With that said, as you're trying to tick all the boxes, let's say, so if the criteria include, on the example of last year's, because it's the closest to us, we had 3 areas of technology, and then a few of these value-related areas like inclusivity, sustainability, and then 3 areas, which was augmented reality, online plus offline shopping experience, and something third, which I don't remember right now. E-commerce, I think. So as you're trying to tick these boxes, don't go overboard. And we've had some examples of people who went a bit too far in trying to stretch their idea to tick all these boxes and ended up tipping over. So we've had this example last year of a company that of like an innovation that proposed these vending machines for shampoo, which was not perhaps a bad idea by itself, but then they really pushed the idea that it was very inclusive. It was so inclusive that everybody could buy this product from this vending machine. And at the end, they were a team of 3 guys, and 3 guys. At the end of the presentation, then they received a question like, "How is your solution inclusive? How is your team inclusive?" Which kind of struck them, and it was pretty funny. And it's not that teams made of 3 people of the same sex are going to be discriminated against. Certainly not. But if you're clearly pushing the boundaries of common sense, then you might expect the jury to push back. The third point is know your jury, which is super vital, and your mentor will help you on that. Once you pass the first stage of internet elimination, you are gonna get a mentor from L'Oreal. Correct me if I'm wrong, Victoria, but this is how it worked last year. And for us, it was Marta from e-commerce at PPD, so products for professionals. And the amount of insight that she gave us, not only about the company itself, but also about who's gonna be our judge, what are their areas of focus, what they are personally working on, what agendas they're pushing in this corporate environment, made us yeah, they all work with a mentor. Great, Dominika, thank you. I need to stop reading the chat because I get distracted.
I think what you wanted to say, or maybe I will add that you can, like, your mentor will probably tell you, I guess, it's that what is going to be the jury, but also you can then find them on LinkedIn or whatever, because of course they cannot say too much, but then you could see kind of departments, areas they work in, and how it helps. It helps because then you can kind of predict what kind of questions you will get from them on your project. And the part when you're presenting and answering the question of the jury is like crucial and vital because they will challenge you. So if you're gonna be prepared for those questions, it's gonna, like, you're gonna score so much more than like normally. But we're gonna talk about the presenting also later. But here it's also about the research, but the research of the people that are gonna maybe not judge you, but like
well, that's the name of their job. But
true.
Yes, 100% agree to what Victoria said. Following our example from the last year, we learned that one member of the jury is the let's say chief digital marketing officer, who's currently really involved in developing the CRM, which is the customer relationship management system. So basically a database of all the people, like of all the clients, that could allow to give them more like personalized experiences. And with knowing that, we made like some little tweaks to our project and the way that we present it to highlight the way that it's going to help the company collect data, for example. And I believe last but certainly not least, like stay grounded and stay open-minded. Check yourself with reality. Most of the ideas are repetitive, and even on the semifinals, even during the international finals, I would say, maybe 1/4 of the projects was so unique that no one else had the same idea. On semi-final, I would say half of the people had the same, like pretty much the twist on the same thing. So it is really vital to have somebody tell you if your idea is weak, if your idea is not groundbreaking enough, or it doesn't have this spark, this something that will make you stick in the memory of your audience and your judges. Yeah, talk to your friends, talk to your mentor, talk to people from your university or from your whatever work, whatever environment that you're in. And here, very important part, make smart use of AI. Of course, like everybody uses AI. And as we were preparing for this, it was Victoria's thought that actually AI can help you in a way that you wouldn't, that you don't expect it to. Namely, it can, if you say to the let's say ChatGPT or Gemini, you say, hey, give me 10 ideas for innovation for men beauty, it will give you some ideas, but then you are 99% sure that most of the people that's prompted it the same way are going to get pretty much the same ideas. So this is, AI is actually a very interesting way to check if your idea is original. Not necessarily telling your idea to the AI, but by asking it to generate your ideas, you can check if you are original enough. Am I right, Victoria, Aga?
Yeah, I think like when we are coming up with our idea, we also use ChatGPT, and I think even at first with like the mirrors or something, we wanted to go like further with one idea, but then in the end we realized that, well, it's not that innovative actually. So yeah, I think that's a good tip. So like if ChatGPT can come up with your idea after 1 or 2 prompts, then probably it's not the best direction to go.
Yeah, that's it for the first chapter, which was the idea, and then the second one is the pitch. And here another small question to get to know you a little better is, what is your personal struggle when it comes to pitching? Do you have any? Perhaps you're world class in pitching, but what's one thing that you want to work on when it comes to public speaking or generally presenting your ideas?
So maybe you can write on the chat and maybe we can answer like later on. Right.
For example, for me, it's always been the eye contact. I am so afraid of catching eye contact with the people I am talking to. So a big part of my preparation, not only for Brandstorm, but in general for any pitching that I do, is actually sitting in front of somebody and talking to them, looking straight into their eyes, because it makes your audience listen to you more when you look at them. It's like with your teacher in middle school. When you feel watched, then pay more attention.
Someone shared that they don't know what to do with their hands during the presentation, and I think that's something we can all relate to. So maybe you can also share some tips how it was for you during the presentation, what to do with your hands.
I think during the
Go ahead.
like the regional semifinals, we had microphones, so it was a bit easier because you can, just hold your microphone. But well, we had, I think, only one microphone for 3 people. So when someone else was speaking, like, I can relate to that, like not knowing what to do with your hands, or like I think we also struggle with that. That like like someone was speaking, the 2 of us were standing behind, like very focused, like instead of like smiling or something, because we were so like very like very focused on what the other person was saying. But I think with the hands, it's if you don't have anything to hold, you can either. I think some teams, like in the international finals, they had like some sort of how do you say it? Choreography.
Choreography.
Yeah, I can pronounce it. But they had like certain, like when they were showing the presentation, like all the teams did certain like stuff with their hands, like certain gestures to like show, like something like that. Or then some of them had like a product, like semi-product that they could hold. Or I don't know, I often just put them behind my back, and it's also fun.
Yeah, those are all great strategies. And also what you said, Agnieszka, about when one person is speaking, the other 2 need to also be aware, of their body language and the face and everything. So of course, everyone is in a zone trying to remember, what's next and what to say, and focusing on giving the best speech. But actually, it's also about how are you presenting. So it's really important to remember to keep an eye contact, even if it's hard, and smile also, and nod, and try to be active even when you're not saying your part at the moment.
Yeah, great thoughts, Dominika. I would even add that even if you are not speaking, you can still contribute to the overall like pitch performance by you can help the person that's currently talking by using your body language. So it's really encouraged to, for example, look in the direction of somebody that's talking, like, because if you are not interested in what your colleague has to say, then why would the audience be?
Exactly. So you need to be helpful to each other on the stage. It's only like a few minutes, during the finals, both local and international, but still you can manage to make a great impression during this time, and you need to use it, and the most of it as you can.
Yeah, you likely gonna have some sort of a clicker as well, which is one of my favorite gimmicks for presentations, like laser pointer slash clicker. That's remotely controls the slides. But one of my personal favorites, and I have to share it, it's not certainly for Brandstorm, but in general, like a tip for life and for any of your formal or informal speaking situations. Clippers like this, these things rock. So it's really bad to talk with your to present with your phone in your hand. It's a bit better to present with a tablet or an iPad in your hands. It's a bit better, but it gives you this feeling of disconnection. Cards work for some people, but for me, having this big chunk of cardboard in my hand, it really gives me this kind of shield from the audience, and I can also read from it with a class. So I didn't use it on Brandstorm because we've had everything scripted and learned by heart, and also the presentation is really quick. But whenever I have to present for a longer time, then clipboards certainly rock. Okay, let's move to the main part. But that was a cool discussion. I really liked it. Some quick shower thoughts about the deck itself. There are 2 types of decks that are so different from one another. And one I usually call just the pitch deck, and the other is more of a white paper, an info pack. So the main difference here is one of them is meant to be presented with your it's meant to be a background of your presentation, and the other one is the presentation by itself, and it's meant to be read in silence without your like narrative support. And the presentation that you're gonna send at the beginning, I am not 100% about I'm not 100% sure about the rules, but last year there was a limit of 3 slides, if I'm not
The
mistaken.
same this year, so 3 slides only.
So you need to pack a lot of information into these 3 slides. And then when you're presenting, on the other hand, you're not constricted by slides as much. You're constrained by the time, so you can spread your thoughts into many more slides. It is really important to track the amount of time you spend on each, but you can have sometimes you can have a slide for every separate word. We had something like this in our presentation, where we were talking about like the advantages of this solution. So we were talking that it's what we were saying. Girls, can you remind me? Basically, we were saying, it's modular, it's innovative, it's something, blah blah blah. It's cool. Yeah, we also said that.
Cool. But just like to be like clear, I'm not sure if it's like the same from maybe, because that's our perspective, but maybe like Dominika or like Victoria, if you're also like looking at the presentations submitted. For us, like the presentation we initially submitted was completely different than the one we prepared once we knew we are gonna like pitch our idea like in the regional semifinal. Because like as Marty said, the one we submitted, we had quite complex idea, and there was a limit of only 3 slides, so there was like a lot of text. Like it was still, I would say, like very like nice presentation with some graphics, and like it was aesthetic presentation, but like a lot of text that we knew like we are not gonna be there to like specify the details, and this is like our only chance to make sure like the judges are gonna understand our idea. But then if we're gonna present and we had like 5 minutes, we made the presentation much more like interactive. There was much like a lot less text on the slide, so because we were there to provide the context. And I'm not sure like if this is like a normal procedure to change the presentation, or if other teams like stay more or less with the same presentation. Like maybe someone else can elaborate.
Last year, most of the teams had more.
It's a great point. I will take a second to deep dive into it. So it's a great point. Definitely, the presentation that you're submitting and the one that you're presenting during the local or like global finals, if you will be, a part of each event, can be different. So also we have our mentors, to work with our finalist teams to help you polish your ideas and also to help you, make your presentation better. So I would say also the insight about making it more interactive and not overloaded with a lot of information, it's really helpful, because it really needs to be like a pitch. So once you are submitting the project and then we are evaluating them and picking our finalists, we only have your 3 slides and your video, so that's the only thing we can see. But then during the local finals or global finals, you have a chance to speak. So your presentation is supporting you, but you are the main, I would say, point of the presentation. We want to know more from your side. Also, we have some jury questions. So there is, a lot of conversation going on about your project. And that's the moment when you can kind of, sell it to the jury and show your work, show your research, show your knowledge. But the slides are there to support you, to make it more fun, more interactive, to show more of your idea. So that's the purpose, I would say, of the slides. So of course, the presentation you submit or the one you are showing on the finals can be different. Of course, the idea needs to stay the same, but the slides will be like pretty the same, I would say, but the slides can change and can vary from each other.
Yep. And then the second point, I believe it belongs to the it belongs more to the third subchapter. Yes, thank you, Dominika. Then the video. Quickly about the video. For us, it was, I would say, a shortfall. Is it how you say? Basically, what we wish we could have done better is make the video more complementary to the to the main content, because of course the video needs to needs to check some boxes and needs to present the idea in itself, but then we weren't aware, for example, we didn't read that deep enough that the video is going to be played before your presentation in the semi-final. I don't know if that's the case this year.
No, this year it will be a bit different because also the character of the video change. So it won't be about the idea and showing your idea, but it will be only for a team. So the team will have a chance to answer some questions to give us a better understanding of their insight of the teamwork and what's the backstory, I would say. So it's going to be a bit different, and probably we won't play it before the finals.
Great. Then again,
You're supporting that idea, Marty, not to play the video.
I was pretty surprised, but because yeah, you can still have that thought in the back of your head that the video and your pitch should make some sort of a bigger whole, and they can be used to draw a better landscape and make you more memorable. That was a short one.
I may add something. I mean, from our experience, I think I would say like that unless you have some proper experience in making videos, I would say in that case, the less is more. I mean, I think it's like if you just do a simple video with like people speaking and then like, combine the scenes or something, it's like relatively easy, and I would say it still looks good. Why sometimes like you don't have experience and you're trying to do something more creative, like in the end you lose a lot of time, and then the like finished product, it's probably not as you would imagine. And so yeah, I would say that maybe just to save you some time, I would say, yeah, on that case, like the key is in simplicity sometimes.
Yes, I can agree on that. Within the company, we also have the simplicity policy, so I would say it's the perfect word. And as you mentioned, the less is sometimes better. So it's more important to focus, on your project, on your idea, than to spend time if you don't have those, video editing experience or you don't feel good within that area. Just like a simple solutions are the best ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, great insight. Thank you. For the performance, here again, something that you will probably hear from a lot of people. It's a basic advice, but practice your pitch. It's so little and so much. You boost your chances of getting further so dramatically by just knowing your script, by just like knowing what you're talking about, by knowing the order of your slides, by removing things that aren't necessary, by cutting off bad jokes. It takes time, and for us it took a lot of time. Maybe not, I don't know if a lot of time, like a lot. I think we've brainstormed more. But then still, we met together a few times. Everybody was presenting on our own. Everybody was training on our own at home. We strictly measured the time it took us to speak each of our parts.
But an important thing here is like to make this, like, again, it's to script versus not to script, and that's in a moment. But like at the beginning, we created the story, like the three of us together, and then we split it how we want to which parts we want to talk about like individually, but then like go through it for the first time and like create a script if you want a script like together, because that's the main like thing. And also know not only your parts, because if someone gonna tripped or whatever at the presentation, then someone needs to help out and someone needs to cover their part also, so at least know what's there. Yeah, I would so. And then yeah, Aga.
Oh, sorry. I also wanted to, because I think in our case, like we had like some presentation at our university or like in some students organizations, but I think from like what we could also see, let's say on the stage, that like students, people have different experiences in presenting. For some people, it's probably like the first time they're presenting like in front of like a larger audience. And I would say that if you don't have an experience presenting, it's good to, like, I don't know, maybe see some videos or something, because like there were some like like there were some groups, for example, that they were reading from the paper, and this is something that like you shouldn't do. Like simply you should not go there in front of people
Or
and
even
just read.
worse, they were reading from their phones, I guess, some of them, and that was like the worst example.
Or if you are in a team of 3, it would probably be good, like if each of you would say something, or like very basic stuff that I think makes like a much better impression if you like introduce. And once you have the basics, I guess you can, there's always something to improve. Like I think there's no like a proper finish line, because there's always something you can change. But yeah, so just to say that.
Yeah, also repetition helps you spot out things, like areas of improvement. Some, as I said before, some bad jokes that need fixing, or some storylines that don't match up together, because you will be working on it in a team of 3. Everybody's going to have their little ideas, and sometimes the thread of the story just gets lost. So only by practicing and practicing together and practicing a lot, you're gonna spot these inconsistencies. Then to script versus not to script. Victoria already said some really wise words when it comes to that. But my bottom line, on the other hand, was we scripted it a lot, but it doesn't always have to be the best idea to do that, as the more strict is your script, in worse, like the worst is the situation that you're going to find yourself in when you forget it in the middle of your presentation. So you need to balance out the like improv and just knowing broadly what you're gonna talk about on each slide, and then having the script. But it really pays off to have this improv part to fall back to. And then last part, small one, but a big plus, I believe, especially from a networking perspective. Feel like a team and look like a team. It's the way you look and the way you present yourself as a team can add this spark to your presentation and to your presence in the space during the semi-final pitches and the final pitches. So sometimes it can be something really trivial, like, I don't know, a team from Czech Republic had glasses in the same color. Our team was just dressed in beige, but there were teams that had their own like T-shirts printed or something. These were pretty basic things, as I said. But it shows that you were thinking about your presentation and your team as a bigger thing.
And I also think that it just makes you feel a bit more confident if you like look good when you present. Also, like, remember to be comfortable. I think that like sometimes, even though, I don't know, you have the same outfit. I think we had this like, we argued about this in London, because they wanted me to wear something I wasn't feeling comfortable, and I knew that I would not feel good. So even though, like, it would make us maybe look better as I don't know, more interesting, I knew it would negatively impact my performance probably. So yeah. So
Yeah,
also make sure you feel
this
comfortable.
really wonderful drip, and she is not wearing it, and we are regretting it until this day. But
So to sum up, I would say balance everything, try to focus on all those points Marty said, but in the end, also try to take the most out of it for you. Try for it to be fun, not so stressful, try to balance. And also, putting those little things like, the same glasses or some theme in the shirts or whatever can also make it more fun to you and more comfortable. So that's also very important for you to feel good and comfortable with your presentation, because then your performance will also be great if you're feeling well.
And you know what? It's just like a fun experience beforehand. I mean, even if you don't get to like finals or whatever, but it's gonna be just cool and fun experience with your friends. And like that like talking about our outfits was one of the highlights for me. And on each stage, so it just better.
Exactly. So in the end, it's about fun as every competition. So it's nice to have a good time within that and not to also over stressed about your presentations and performance.
Okay, and the last part here of the chapter 2, sorry, mistake in the presentation, the Q&A part. And again, this is I would say one of these two insights that will be most like one of the two most original insights that you're gonna get from us today. Think a lot about the Q&A, because it was again something that helped us a lot and helped us stay ahead of other teams. So there is some time, as you are aware of, dedicated to the Q&A, and it's a lot of time, taking into account that your presentation is 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes, and probably around 3 minutes. It will be 3 to 5 minutes for Q&A part.
So it almost doubles your time. So it would be such a waste not to be prepared for that time and not to utilize it. So what we did was we spent quite some time mapping all potential questions that we could get asked. We spent some time putting these little anchors within our presentation that we believed would force certain questions. So if we knew that we didn't have time, for example, to dive into the financials, we just hinted at the financials, showed a graph, and assumed that they are going to ask about it in the Q&A, and we had another part of the script prepared just for the financial part, so that we can answer their question. And it saved us a lot of time during the presentation, so we didn't have to waste important pitching time to dive into the money stuff. Also, you will usually, even if it's 3 minutes dedicated to questions, from my experience from Brandstorm, and not only Brandstorm, from like other pitch competitions as well, you will usually not get more than 2 questions per team if more than 3 teams are pitching. And if you answer laconically, if you don't take your time and your effort to elaborate and just answer, in one sentence, you're going to waste that opportunity and that time, because they're going to ask one question, you say, yeah, well, yeah, that and that, period. Another question, that and that, period. It took you 30 seconds. You had 2.5 minutes more to impress your jury.
Yeah, and I will also add to that here can also ChatGPT be very helpful. So once you will have your presentation and your project, worked out, you can try to use him if he has a gender. You can try to use the ChatGPT to propose some question that the jury can ask you. For sure, the mentors will help you with that as well, because they have some experience and knowledge about what potentially our jury might ask, what might be interesting for them. But also, I would say ChatGPT can help you with that as well and give you some perspective, maybe to elaborate and to prepare yourself for a question if this kind of question will occur.
Yep, fully agree. Make use of AI. It makes your life easier. Girls, anything to add in this area? If not, we will move to two last kickers at the end. Go one step further than the rest and focus on making this wow effect, this spark that it's been, I hope, a motive that you that have already made itself memorable to you. It's those little things that you add on top that make a difference between a generic, basic, common idea and something that really takes your breath away, or at least gets you some attention and recognition. So there were some teams in the past that did crazy things, like play guitar or something. We didn't go as far. There were teams who prepared physical how do you say, prototypes of their solution, even if of course it didn't work, but it looked somewhat like they wanted to do 3D printed or just assembled from scrap. A superpower that some of you might have over business students like us is the knowledge of technology, and this is something that you can definitely present. And some of the teams that made it really far to the international finals and scored in the top 10 were the ones that were able to present some real science behind what they were trying to do, to show some papers, to show some scientific work that they might have done that supports their idea. And here, for example, a team from Israel last year did something really cool, an idea of 3D printing from keratin left out in hairdressers' studios. So the hair that is cut away of your hair once you leave a visit, they claimed to have found a scientific way to turn this into keratin and then 3D print hair out of that. And they were already working on it. So that was an example of a solution first approach. So because they were working on the technology, and they found out they can apply it in the Brandstorm. So this is fun. What we did, to give you an example, since we made an app, as you already know, we did like actual mock-ups, like prototypes of it, that the jury could. So we made the mock-ups, and then we put them online, and we printed QR codes. We gave them away to the jury members so that they could scan the code and try the app out for themselves on their phone, which maybe not all of them, but at least some of them really appreciated, and they talked to us afterwards that it was an interesting take. So yeah, always think about something, something to spark up your presentation. Victoria, Aga? If no,
I I think I would also say that like it's obviously all those things, like I don't know, dressing similarly as a team, or like making this like additional effects. It obviously plays towards your advantage. But then this is not something that would win over an extremely good idea. So this is good to have. Like it shows that you are ambitious professional, that presents your idea better. But like the core thing that's gonna win or not is the idea in itself. So
yes, sure. Thank you for bringing me for reality checking me, Aga.
No, but I do think that just use your superpowers, because like Marty was talking about our example, which we did, and that was mock-ups, and then they like the judges could go through the, let's say, app, but then our superpower was Marty, and and his knowledge in graphics and, like, this the pretty stuff. So that was our superpower. But then if some of you was from, I don't know, chemistry background or whatever, maybe that's your superpower, to use that. So just like use what's yours, and not just listen to us, or like do the same. Just do what you are feeling good at. That's the most important one.
Strong one. Thank you. And now for the final piece of golden, most generic advice we could possibly give you, but also the most true one. Guys, have fun. It's so fun, literally. Every step of the journey. We've enjoyed so far so much. It helped us bond a lot. The biggest losers were the people of the international finals. I would say were the people who tried too hard to win, because some people forgot that at the end of the day, they are your competition literally for 24 hours, and for the rest of your life they could be your colleagues. And first in the semifinal you will meet people from around Europe, and then in the global final you will literally meet 40 people, like from 40 teams, 120 people from all over the world, and you can bond with them and just be nice, have fun, network.
Yeah, I would say it's the best advice ever, to take the most out of the brainstorm, and to remember that networking is really fun. And it's fun also to meet people from different countries that go through the same as all of you will do, and have a different ideas, and you can exchange that, and you can just be in the moment and take the most out of it. Okay, I think it's time for questions already, because I already have a question and I really want to ask it.
Here is a QR code that you can use to apply to Brandstorm if you haven't yet.
If you haven't yet, exactly. And now we will have some time for questions. So if any of you have a question, please feel free to speak up or write it in the chat, and then we will read it and the answer will come. And while I will give you a few seconds to start asking your questions, I would like to ask our last year local winners, if you could give yourself an advice before our local finals, like a minute before it, what would you tell to yourself?
that you are gonna forget stuff and not everything is gonna go perfect, because I forgot my lines. So just like know it before that it will happen, that 99% something like you're gonna miss the word or whatever, or you're gonna mispronounce, or you're gonna be stuck for 10 seconds, and just, I don't know, be prepared for that in your mind that it may happen, and then talk to your team before like how to navigate that problem if that would happen, and how they can help you. And then don't like stress too much if that's going to happen, because everyone, even like the judges, are not perfect, and you may trip, but it's fine, and you still can win, for example, local finals, because we did it, and it wasn't perfect, and it wasn't even like 90% what we scripted.
Great, thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else have an advice that they would like to tell to themselves last year?
I would like to tell myself from a year ago just to enjoy the moment more, because I think I was more focused on like presenting and then the results and everything, that I forgot a bit to just be in the present and network more, or like enjoy the situation more. I think
Aga, I've never seen you more stressed before the final. So like
I still don't know why. I still don't know why it happened, because like overall the atmosphere was really, really nice. I don't know. I think we just put a lot of effort in it, and I was so
Yes, of course, everyone wants to win, so that's natural, but it's important to enjoy the situation, as you put it. Marty, anything from your side?
I wanted to say, be also like, be prepared for the situation of actually winning, because it could happen, and if it happens, you're gonna have some great opportunity to get some great pictures. and if you know what to do, and you're not embarrassed, and you own this moment, you're gonna get great pictures. I don't know.
There will be a lot of pictures, that's for sure. So it's good to be aware of that. And guys, what was the most surprising maybe for you when it comes to Brandstorm? Anything that you weren't expecting maybe to get or to know, or anything that was surprising the most during the whole adventure?
I think for me, I was like slightly surprised by how our mentors were invested in our project, and I really enjoyed the sessions we had. I think it was like super nice that we could all kind of like brainstorm, and I just really enjoyed the process of just sitting together, like exchanging ideas, especially with people from L'Oreal that had much more experience, because I kind of thought that, oh yeah, you're gonna just give us some people, and they're gonna treat it as like ticking off the box from their workday or something maybe, but they were actually super motivated to help us.
Great, and that will be for sure the same this year and every other year of Brandstorm. So the mentors are always very involved, and they are also competitive, so they really want their team to win on the local level. So I would say for them, it's a great job to be a mentor and to do something nicer, maybe like something different from the day-to-day scope, and then also to have some satisfaction once the team will be the winning one for the local finals. Okay, I think we are coming to an end. We don't have any question from the audience, so I guess you covered all of it perfectly, and there are no doubts about how to build your winning brainstorm strategy. So I think we can, wrap it up. Of course, you can rewatch, every brainstorm webinar on the website. We already shared with you the link. We are waiting for your projects, of course, and we are keeping fingers crossed for your innovations. And thank you so much for joining us today. It was super nice. Thank you so much, Marti, Aga, and Victoria, for joining us and sharing your experience. We are super glad to hear all the journey you've got and everything. So really congrats once again on the last year brainstorm. And thank you so much for joining us today. If anyone from the audience will have any question for us, wants to ask us anything more, remember that there is a place on the Brandstorm platform that you can reach out to us, and then we will be there to answer all of your questions or doubts.
And we also shared our Instagrams and LinkedIn. So
Yeah,
I think if anyone wants to ask us some questions, we are very happy to help you out.
Yeah, we can resend the links, I guess, on the chat, so everyone will have it. If you have it somewhere close to you, then you can try to type it out on the chat for everyone. And then if any one of you would like to reach out to our last year local winners, then just don't be shy. Reach out to them, and they will for sure be there to answer your questions and any doubts you might have about Brandstorm. Oh, perfect. Marty's LinkedIn is already here, so that will be the contact to reach out to the rest in case, but maybe we will, oh yeah, it's Victoria and Agnieszka will appear shortly for sure, so we will wait just like one more second for her LinkedIn as well. Perfect. So once again, thank you so much, all of you. Have a great evening, because it's already 8 p.m. And yeah, I wish you all, to win our local and global finals, because I'm also very competitive. So I'm counting on Poland and Baltic to win this year also the global finals for the Brandstorm. And yeah, once again, thank you so much, all of you. And, we will see each other hopefully shortly on our local finals in May. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Bye-bye.